Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Fridays on Excellence show, where we dig into 6 areas of life and see what we can find to become more excellent. My name is Scott Kokenauer. I'm your host, and I'm so glad that you've taken time out to tune in. We are recording live on Facebook and YouTube. We're also live on Clubhouse. Search for Serving Strong and join the room titled Time Blocking, going on right now. Those of you listening on as a podcast, welcome to you as well. Let's dive right into our first segment of the show, the 3 coaching questions. All right. Question number 1. What top 3 projects did you complete last week? What top 3 projects did you complete last week? Question number 2. How do you start your day? How do you start your day? Number 3. How does your calendar make you productive? Those are your 3 questions. The power is made manifest when you keep them front of mind all week. They are not designed to be asked and answered right now. The power comes in when you can keep these questions with you, write them down, keep them visible, put them on a 3x5 card, stick them on your screen so that when you're on your Zoom sessions or you're scrolling, whatever it is you do on your computer, you can see these questions. Think about them every day. After all, it all comes down to the walk, doesn't it? All right. So those are your 3 questions. And let's move into our next segment of the show, the 2 pillars of excellence. Today, we are talking about vocational excellence, excellence in our job, excellence in our vocation, whether that is something you are doing to get paid to do, or a vocation also wraps its arms around the things you do as a volunteer. Could be you're on the worship team at your church. You could be volunteering at a local food distribution place. Whatever you are giving your time to, whether it's volunteer or for a paycheck, we are talking about how to become excellent in your vocation. So this week, I had the opportunity to talk with Susie of aceconcierge.net. I want you to check her out at her website, aceconcierge.net. I'll put a link to her website in the show notes. Susie has always been, um, when I think of productivity, she comes to my mind. She's always posting things, always blogging on how you can become more and more productive. She is she's in the virtual assistant arena, but she's so much more than that. I had a chance to talk with her this past week, and we recorded a conversation. I am going to share a couple of excerpts from that conversation that I had with her, and we are going to go over the 2 pillars, the 4 pillows. Well, you can tell I'm tired. Pillar number 1, routines and habits. So let's watch this little segment on routines and habits.
I think some of it starts with your own personal habits and routines. And I mean, I can only speak from personal experience, and then what I've shared with clients. And I've been in business, since 2002.
Right.
So for me, have to manage, and then that's it.
All right. So routines and habits are so important when we're talking about being productive. You can't just start a day and go normally the way you would want to go and just take life as it is and expect to be productive. There there are things that you need to do to create these routines and these habits. There's a book that I would highly, highly recommend that you read. You need to get it. You need to get it on Audible and listen to it. You need to go get it on Kindle so that you can read it when you've forgotten your book. And you need a hard copy so that you can make notes. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'll put a link to the to where you can buy that in the show notes as well. Atomic Habits helps us create these habits that we need so desperately in order to be more productive. That's pillar number one. Pillar number two has to do with blocking your time. And blocking your time is so critical. Again, I talked with Susie about block time. This is what she had to say.
So one of the things I do, I keep a spreadsheet of every single client, and I know what their projects are. And I also use some project management software called Red Booth. And then I take what I have to do for the day, the week, the month. You are able to get more done. I'm tuning out distractions, except for a few clients that I work much more closely with, depending on what projects I have. I'm tuning everything else out. I don't care what's going on social media, my phone, anywhere else. I've got that project to do, and that's all I'm doing for that hour or 2 hours. Sometimes, of course, I will take breaks, but I don't find it restrictive. I find it more as a guide.
Okay, so blocking time. Notice what Susie said there. She's able to eliminate distraction. Eliminating distraction, so critical to being productive. You've got to, man, we are so distracted, aren't we? There are so many things that are grabbing for our attention. And we come to the end of the day having felt very, very busy. But in the end, when you ask yourself, what did I really get accomplished? It's a very difficult thing to answer. So, this is going to move us to our third and final segment of the show, which is your takeaway. The takeaway today is to move 3 tasks on your to-do list to your calendar. Move your tasks to your calendar. We're picking up on what we just heard about blocking time. And I'm going to share with you an example of how we can actually use our calendar to make us more productive. Before I do that, there's a difference between a to-do list and a calendar. On the to-do list, it's very easy to just move something to the next day or forget about it altogether and just hit it done when you didn't really get it done. It's a whole different thing when it's an appointment on your calendar. Think of it this way. If you have a meeting that's very important with someone else, and you know they're going to be at that coffee shop waiting on you, then think about what goes on in your mind and in your heart as you prepare for that. You are thinking, well, it takes 15 minutes to get to the coffee shop, so I've got to leave in enough time so that I'm not late. Whether you're a person who's interested in being on time or not, that's not the point. The main thing is that you don't want to stand anyone up. When you have something on your calendar, you are more likely to follow through on that. So it's very easy on one hand with your to-do list to just push tasks, kick the can down the road. I think I'll do this next week. I've done this, and I'm sure if you're honest, you've done this too. But if you took 3 or 4 tasks and you put them into a time block on your calendar and treated it much like a conversation that you have planned with somebody at a coffee shop, you're going to more likely get those tasks done. That's part of the story. The other part is you've got to create that space for your time blocks. And I'm going to share with you a sample calendar. This calendar is an example. This is next week. The orange are things that you're doing with your client. So we have a meeting with Claire on Monday at 10 a.m. We have a meeting with Fred at 5, a meeting with Stanley on Tuesday, a meeting with Ashley on Thursday. We have a meeting with Carlin on Friday. Now, we're doing some work for a client by the name of Jim, and we're building out his project on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have some business development items. We have to meet with our CPA. A little bit later in the afternoon, we have to update our QuickBooks. And then at 4:00, we need to send out all our email messages. There is a seminar on leadership. And so in this example, green is used for personal growth. So we've got a number of things on our calendar. Now, you may look at this and say, man, that is an easy calendar. I get it. Everybody I talk to, the standard thing after saying, how are you doing, is no longer, I'm fine, how are you? It's, I'm busy, but it's good. You've probably said that to someone. I know I have multiple times. And yet there is busyness and there is productivity. So let's look at this calendar here. Let's assume this was your calendar. Now look at all the white space above and all the white space below. These are your sleeping hours, 1 a.m. to roughly 7 a.m. All right. Now, let's say you get up at 6 every morning and you get ready and you're pretty much awake at 7. And let's say you know that on Fridays, for the most part, you don't have any meetings between 7 and 9. So what you'll do is you'll come in here and you will create a 7 to 9 block, hit more options, and you'll come up here, and what you'll do is say, this is my Friday block time. And I would encourage you to make it repeat. So we're at April 2nd, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Let's make it repeat on weekly on Friday. Let's make sure it says that I'm busy, and let's save that. So now what we're going to do is change this color to something that, well, let's make it red, and we'll do it for all the events. All right, now we've got a red reoccurring task on Fridays from 7 to 9. Right now, what you have done so far is you have created a segment in your calendar that you, when someone says, can we meet 7 a.m. on Friday, you go to your calendar, you see the block time, you say, is it possible we could meet at 9? You see how this works? This is like the big rocks that Stephen Covey talked about. You put this event in your calendar and everything flows around it. So we go back in here, and I'm going to take myself off the screen so you can see this calendar. Those of you listening on the podcast, imagine a Google Calendar and try to follow along in that way. So we're going to open up this Friday block time, double click on it, and we have a place where we can put notes. So if you see this note section, let's just put task number 1 in here, task number 2, and task number 3. We'll even put bullet point. Now we'll put numbers beside it. So now we've got task 1, 2, and 3 to be done in this block time. So it comes Friday. Let me save this. And we're going to save it just for this event because these 3 tasks are only going to be done for this particular Friday. So now, when we click this once, you will see the 3 tasks. That's what you will schedule for your block time on that day. Now, the power is in the fact that you have 2 hours to do that. You've not scheduled anything around it. And what if you get all 3 tasks done in the first 45 minutes? We've got an hour and 15 minutes. Start borrowing from the rest of your list and start getting more done. Can you imagine? It's 9 a.m. and you have just gotten 5, 6, 7 tasks done before your day even starts. What a great feeling that is. What productivity does that create for you? I've only used an example of going 1 block time once a week. I encourage you, find those or make those block times more frequently in your calendar. You could consider like 6 to 7 every day, every weekday. You could go from 12 to 2 every weekday or every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Whatever cadence that you set up, the important thing is you put these block times in. I have a block time to get caught up. So when I get to that appointment in my calendar, I know that's what I am doing. I am catching up on my email. I'm catching up on the projects I'm doing for my clients. It is so much more powerful than just a to-do list. So this is your takeaway. Move 3 tasks to a calendar event. That's your takeaway. Try that for the next week. And if you would like to, I would love for you to send me an email, coach@servingstrong.com. Tell me how time blocking is actually working for you or not working for you. And I would love to find out what works and what doesn't work in your life. So that is the takeaway. This has been another episode of the Fridays on Excellence. where we dig into 6 areas of life and see what we can find to become more excellent. I'm Scott Kokenauer, and I'm so glad that you've taken time out to tune in. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.